going to throw out a question about Kevin Steele. So Nick Saban is impressed enough with Kevin Steele, and obviously has worked with him in the past, to hire Kevin Steele. Kevin Steele did not produce a good defense with Miami by any stretch last year, but had the talent on that side of the football to be better. I'm not going to say to be great or one of the best defenses in the country, but to be much better. And we know that it's a matchup game to a certain extent. If the talent is comparable, if the talent's not comparable, you can run off tackle if you're 50 times better than the opponent and just blow them away with physicality and speed.
Right.
But if the talent's comparable, then matchups come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be that there were a lot of things working against Kevin Steele last year? We may have noted that a couple guys didn't necessarily always show up. Maybe there were some offensive coordinators on the schedule last year who figured some things out against his defense that other offensive coordinators from previous years hadn't figured out. I know there's a lot of working parts there and a lot of things that could have happened that, maybe if he sticks around this year, he puts together a top 25 defense.
I would never question his knowledge nor his encyclopedia of great history. I mean, you talk about a guy that he would sit down and he could bring up a play from 1988 when he was a defensive coordinator at Insert University here. And he watched this one play the week before, and they used the same play, and it didn't work. And then in 2003, he called it as a defensive coordinator at Auburn, and it worked. I mean, he has a plethora of knowledge and is a great teacher, in my opinion. Now, there's a term of having too many chefs in the kitchen. And when you have a guy, you have him, you have Charlie Strong, who's also respected as a defensive mind, young up-and-coming coach and Coach Dye, Hall of Famer and Ed Reed in the back shadow. You have a Hall of Famer in Jason Taylor. You got some of the Oregon family guys like Joe Salavea. You got a guy who just had an uptick from UTSA and Coach Wright that got an opportunity to come to Miami. I mean, all these different guys are sitting there. And how do they all get on the same page? Different backgrounds, different schemes, different thought processes of how we should attack offenses and how we should run, and knowledge of the team and knowledge of the depth, and how do all of them get together? And then, okay, we're all on the same page. Now we have to go out and teach that to these young men with the confidence like we're already on the same page, like we're already meshed and come as one unit, and then get it to work all in 6 months, and then prepare for August. And it just didn't click. Now, in some instances, Mark, when it's a smooth fit like a glove, it pops. What's up, Mr. HD? Thank you. Appreciate the shout out. It pops, right? Manny Diaz comes down. Miami spent the last 4 years in a 3-4. Young men just itching at the chance to go to a 4-3 and fly off the ball. Smooth glove. 16 and 17, and even a little bit of 18, some dominant defensive performances. Coach Rhett Lashley officially bringing the base spread to Miami. Now, we did complain. We complained about the vanilla run scheme and the predictability, but there's also games like NC State 2020 where you needed 45 points to beat NC State on the road, albeit in the COVID year. You needed those points. You had those points because you had the right route combos and things of that nature to get it done. A Duke team who you needed those points, who now 2 years later kicks your butt at home. You needed those points to score. I say all these things to say, whatever the scheme or thought process or whatever that Coach Steele had, didn't mesh with the roster, and it didn't fit like a glove, and it just didn't click. I believe he is extremely knowledgeable and still can keep coaching for 3 to 4 years. Now, the other side is he's stepping into Alabama, so guess what? He's probably going to have a great season. Great talent, great defensive culture. The head coach is a defensive guy. They've had some great coaching and tutelage over their time there. So you're just coming in and now they want to learn your verbiage and what do you mean by this? And okay, you address, or we get a tight end that motion's over. Okay, you want to call that Louis when we used to call it lousy, whatever. You want to get on the same, you want to be able to speak the same language and have it flow. Similar to, again, I keep bringing up Coach Diaz because the same thing happened with him. Coach Diaz leaves Miami and goes to Penn State, a program that has been doing very, very well, kind of low key because they can't beat Ohio State and Michigan, but two very, very elite programs in the top 1 percentile of the whole sport they can't beat. So they're 10-2 or 11-3 because they may lose to Iowa or something like that, but they're winning the big time bowl here. They're winning a Rose Bowl there now for the first time in over 20 years. They won the Rose Bowl this year. But he stepped into a great defensive culture, a great defensive history, a program that is known as LBU or one of the LBUs. They've had their head coach, Coach Farr, went to VTech and is rebuilding the VTech program, and he was fielding some top 15 defenses his entire time at Penn State. So they're also very talented and had a great defensive culture that he stepped into. Those are not things that you can say about the Miami Hurricanes defense or the Miami Hurricanes team. So again, things did not click. I don't think that that's a slight to Coach Strong because I feel like he may go be the linebackers coach at Alabama. He was just a defensive analyst there 2 seasons ago. Coach Adai, I don't know if he's gone or whatever. Coach Wright may go back there. Who knows? But what I'm saying is whatever happened with throwing all those chefs in the kitchen and all those big-time resumes, it didn't click. So now we've gone more of a group of 5 way. We're bringing in some fiery coaches that have something to prove, a chip on their shoulder, and I think they will get a different level of response from the Miami Hurricanes player than the previous coaches have. Again, we will see. I'm not screaming for Reese Senior Bowl invitees. I'm not screaming for Orange Bowl. I'm definitely not saying playoffs. I'm just saying I think scheme-wise, they will respond a little better.